Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're watching this on the Patreon, then you've probably noticed it's been a long time since I've posted one of these. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it should still be one every week, but on the Patreon you'll see there's been a 3-week gap in these. Excuse me. The reason for that is simple. I am sick. You can probably tell from my voice, the fact I just coughed. I think my face too. I don't know if that'll show up on camera, but my face is pretty messed up. Yeah, I've been sick for a couple of weeks now. Basically, 3 weeks ago I made a video. 2 weeks ago I didn't because of Kineticon. Then I recorded a couple of panels, which will show up later, but I didn't record any vlogs. Then, on the way home from Kineticon, I started getting sick. And last weekend, I was so sick then that I couldn't record at all. So that's 2 weekends in a row with no recording. This weekend, I really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to. I finally decided, to hell with it, I'm going to try. Hopefully my voice will not give out mid-vlog or whatever. But expect a lot of coughing. And the occasional sniff or throat clearing. Sorry, but I felt that it was important to try to get some vlogs done. I'm going to try to get all 3 of the missing ones done today. Hopefully my voice will last through them. Anyway, let's jump right in with Gravity Falls, Episode 4. I really like this one. I liked it a lot. I really like Gideon as a villain. He has a lot of great villain traits going. He's super entitled, super aggressive, really creepy. I really enjoyed it. I do have one issue with the episode, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So, I really liked how the episode opened up with Gideon as this sort of hybrid of a, tent revival, televangelist kind of, fake preacher, kind of person who does lay on hands healing, or if they're really lazy, just announces that viewers at home are getting healed, and, scams people that way. A hybrid of that with, the standard psychic cold reading scam, which, his were very, very transparent. Things like, you're wearing a shirt that says Mabel on it, so you're probably named Mabel. You're carrying a lot of souvenirs from my show, so you've probably seen my show before. That kind of thing. But honestly, that's all psychics actually do. Is exactly that kind of cold reading. They just are slightly more sophisticated about it. It'll be things like leaving pauses in their speech for the gullible audience member to fill in with clues, or making vague statements so that the audience member then goes, "Oh yes, exactly," and then gives the real information. There's a lot of tricks to it, and what's really disturbing is it's possible to do that kind of cold reading without realizing you're doing it. So there are people who genuinely believe that they are psychic, when in actuality all they're doing is this kind of observation and letting people supply information to them. It's kind of sad when you think about it. Of course, most of them are just scammers. And the people who think they're psychic think it because they've seen the scammers and do the same things themselves. So ultimately it comes down to scams. But Gideon, of course, has quote-unquote real powers. He just can't actually... I don't think there's any evidence that he can actually read minds. He just has the amulet that gives him telekinetic powers. But then we went off in a very different direction from what I was expecting, which is we went into basically nice guy syndrome from the girl's point of view, which was really great. That's not something you often see. Because, okay, so if you're not familiar, nice guy syndrome is this pattern of behavior where a guy is nice to a girl. He behaves friendly towards her. He does things for her. out of a romantic or sexual interest, which the girl does not reciprocate. So the guy then gets bitter and angry because he was so nice. Why didn't the girl go for him? Of course, the reason is that you can't buy affection. You know, it doesn't matter how much nice stuff you do for a person. If they're not interested in you, they're not interested in you. But the media and fairy tales and all that kind of stuff and romantic comedies and so forth all, constantly bombard us with this notion of affection, especially affection from women, as being something you earn, something you buy, something you engage in a transaction for. And so a lot of people believe that that's how it works. And these guys get increasingly bitter and nasty and misogynistic as a response to basically they're doing what the media have told them will work and it doesn't work, and instead of changing their behavior or blaming the people who misinformed them, they blame the women for not playing their part in this game that the women have no idea is being played. And though we do occasionally see the behavior being depicted as toxic as it actually is, you almost never see it from the woman's point of view, because of course what this takes advantage of is the way women in our society are trained to not be able to say no. We raise girls to be, to be nice, to care about other people's feelings, which is not in itself a bad thing, but it makes it hard for them to say no. And that's exactly what's going on with Mabel here. She likes Gideon at first. She wants to be friends with him, and therefore she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. So she agrees to one date, which he then tries to turn into 2 dates and 3 dates and so on and so forth. And she's stuck because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings, but at the same time, her efforts to not hurt his feelings are being taken by him kinds of reciprocation, which isn't there. It's really very well done. Yes, that is exactly how it works. And I think they did a very good job of showing that and of showing just how nasty a behavior on the guy's part it actually is. As Gideon very rapidly becomes bitter and angry and starts looking for people to blame, turning on her family. I'm sure if Mabel had had a boyfriend, Gideon would convince himself that said boyfriend was a jerk and start making angry posts on Red Pill or whatever about how, women always go for jerks and never go for nice guys like him. Yeah, it's really hard to talk about nice guy syndrome without making lots of scare quotes in midair. At least for me. And I liked that. I liked that a lot. The one thing I'm a little about is that we are 4 episodes in and 2 of them have been about unwanted admirers being aggressive towards Mabel. And Dipper having to go in to save her. I liked that this one played with it a little, that ultimately it was Dipper who was being captured by Mabel who had to go in to save him. But it's still like half the episodes so far have been about unwanted admirers for Mabel. And that's a bit much. Like, can we maybe find another well for plots here? But that aside, it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed, I knew the minute they went out the window that Mabel was going to telekinetically rescue them, but I really enjoyed her, floating down out of the moon, glowing with power. That was cool. And her being just done, no, I'm not going to be your friend, you're an asshole, to Gideon was also great. The ending certainly seemed to imply that Gideon will be back. He appears to have a book similar to Dipper's, which is interesting. I wonder where he got it. It certainly implies that the amulet is something he found. I mean, the amulet is described in the book, so it must be something he found in the town using the book. Which means he will almost certainly be back. And I like that, because I liked him as a villain. Although it does mean more abhorrent admirer plot lines for Mabel. You know, if they wait 8 or 10 episodes, things in between, then I'm okay with that. If it means that we get this really well done villain who is basically a fantastical version. I mean, his powers are fantastical, but his motivation comes down to a really common real life thing that jerks do. And so, you know, I enjoy seeing that depicted. I enjoy seeing it depicted negatively. Anyway, don't have much else to say. I don't think I've commented on it yet, so I do want to say I really love the opening credits, or opening sequence for this show. That music is great. Yeah. That's about it, really. I'm enjoying the show. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed the whole Nice Guy Syndrome angle. And I'm looking forward to seeing some more. So I'm going to go watch another episode and record a vlog. Talk to y'all later.